Hello, this is Mr. Keeping It Real. Today we're going to talk about confronting your past. And this video blog is going to be for men and for women. I mean, we got women out there that are allowing themselves to be disrespected, abused. You got men that are abusing women in every which way possible. I mean, you have women out there that are wanting to commit suicide over some man or some woman. I mean, you have women out there that are trying to have sex with as many people as they can, not because they some sort of hoe or nympho or anything like that, but that's the only thing that they know. That's the way that they feel love, or they know how to accept love. I mean, you got families that's being ripped apart, tore apart, and all this is because we're not confronting and dealing with, our past. I always say, in order to move forward, we must confront the past. If you ain't at peace with your past, you're not going to have any type of healthy or safety relationship or any type of productive life. At that. So we must confront our past. And I could tell you a story. I mean, most of y'all know me from my writings, my blogs, which you can find on myspace.com/Mrkeepingitreal. But a lot of y'all, tell me how much you love me, you appreciate me, how much of an inspiration I am to you, a motivator, and all that, just such a good guy, and so on and so on and so on. Y'all know what y'all tell me. But like I have said in the past, I have not always been like this. I haven't always been Mr. Keeping It Real. I haven't always been that inspiration, that motivator. I actually grew up, not really liking women. I mean, I tried to dog them at every chance I had, I would dog them. And I mean, from never abusive. It was never, abusive, physically, but emotionally, in which to me that is more damage. I mean, I went from sleeping with sisters, cousins, aunties, mothers, you name it. I did it. I mean, from girls that I know that, that like me a lot. I mean, if you like me, you have to be with my buddy too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I used to do that I'm not proud of. I mean, by no means, growing up and even into my adulthood was I happy. I mean, I was very miserable, and I just couldn't understand it. But doing all this and going through all this, that just wasn't enough for me to change. I mean, I just did not trust women. I had a dislike. I could not trust them. And like I said, I was very, very miserable. I mean, so miserable. And it was a relationship that I was in for like 10 years, which I'm not going to get into that right now. That would be another blog on another subject that I would tie that part in. But I was just at the end of my ropes, and I didn't know what to do. I mean, I was at that breaking point. And I had to think, and what kept popping in my mind was my father, a while back, had told me, he couldn't believe, the way that I was going on and the way I was treating women, and he just basically said that, I couldn't be a son of his, and that always stuck in my head, and it just kept ringing and ringing and ringing. And like I said, from this relationship I was in, I was just so torn down, so miserable. I really had to think. I mean, I took time. I was so sick, I even took time off from work. I didn't know what to do, and I was just thinking. And I sat at my table, and I was thinking. I was writing, thinking. I don't even know what I was writing. But when I got done with it, it all came. I looked what I was writing. It all came to me. It was my childhood. Something that happened in my childhood. And like I said, that's confronting. So I knew I had to confront that. And basically, us growing up, it was me and I had two other sisters. I mean, it was good. and we had both parents. We didn't want for anything. Everything was going good. But it's when things started rattling and going apart that changes started happening. But you know, you're a kid and you don't really realize and you don't see all that, you know all that stuff. I mean, it went from the household being very, very happy to all you heard was arguing and fighting. I mean, daily, on a daily basis, that's what we were seeing, and we just couldn't understand it. I mean, it got to a point where I actually had to come between the two and try to calm things down and break it down. And at the point, we used to think that, like, what's going on? Our father, he must really be crazy. Because why do everything is going good and he comes home and starts this fight? And we just couldn't understand it. But what ended up happening, they ended up separating, and that was very hard on us. And one day, I'm trying to shorten this up because I don't have that much time. But one day, Father came and got us, and we got a stoplight, and he said, "Look over there." And we all looked, and he said, "That's the man that your mother's been messing around with." And when we looked, I said I had to be about 9, maybe 10 then, and it all flashed in on me then. I said, this was the same man that I seen at the laundromat. This was the same man I seen at the grocery store. This was the same man that I seen at restaurants. This man that we picked up one time. And I mean, it just, as a kid, you see this stuff and it don't nothing so, sink in. But everywhere we went, we seen this man. And it started making a little sense then. And Dad took us one time. And that same day he took her. He said, and that's where he stays at. He showed her. He said, and that's where he stays at. And it clicked again. This is the place where Mother used to park and leave us in the car. Say, I'll be right back. And she'll go up there and we'll be in the car for like an hour or something. And this was like twice, at least twice a week. Then she'll come back and give us candy, but we ain't thinking about that as a kid until all that happened. So knowing all that, and like I said, my mother had another baby, so we had my third sister, which then ended up not being my father's. After the divorce was done, knowing that that wasn't his child, and so we moved. I was with my mother, and like I said, me and her new boyfriend, we never hit it off. I mean, we was always getting into it. And what really broke it was one day, me and my friend was at home. I was babysitting, and he came home. He came home drunk and picked a fight with me out, just out of the blue, talking about my friend being there, and he picked a fight. He pulled a knife on me, and we did fight. And when he pulled the knife, we ran and told my mother. When she came home, told her about it, and we went in the house, and he still had the knife. He still tried to come at me, and she separated us and tried to talk to him and kept me in my room. I went to school that next day, and when I came home, my mother had all my clothes packed in garbage bags and had a taxi outside and said, well, since things ain't working out, you want to be with your father anyway, you can go with your father. And she sent me by taxi with all my clothes to my father. And that really hurt. I mean, my mother, chose a man over her son. And all those events right there was really the root of my problem, towards women. And I did not get over those until I decided, I haven't talked to her in years, until I decided I had to get all this out off my chest. So I called, went over there, we had a face-to-face, and I just told her all this. I mean, it hurt. I cried, but I let it all out. I told her how I felt and what it did, and how it was affecting me and relationships and all that. But by me dealing with the problem, I was able to move on, and I was able to find that happiness with myself, and and be real and really find out who Lamont was. So that's when things started changing around with me, when I got it all out and I found out who Lamont really was. Thank you. I'm running out of time. Till next time. Peace.